where they're like, where he's like meeting with the dying player, and he's like, win one for the Gipper or whatever, and then he gives this rousing speech later on, for the team. And I don't know, you hear about these legendary locker room speeches, and I was glad that I saw that. I loved that whole postseason. As painful as it was for us to get bounced out, I still had a lot of fun. I mean, it was such a
I agree.
great
Watching that
postseason.
Astros team was awesome.
Yeah,
They were so good. They wouldn't die. It
yeah,
was like watching the year before. It was like watching the Cleveland team, and the Cubs actually. The Cubs, got swept the year before in the NLCS, and they were the Cubs at the time. They never won anything, and every time they got close, something bad happened. Then you had Cleveland, who had like basically their entire rotation, their entire team was hurt pitching wise, except for Kluber and Miller, and somehow Terry Francona managed that team to extra innings in Game 7 of the World Series, where another great speech happened, where during the rain delay, Jason Hayward got everybody together and kind of talked to everyone there. He said nothing happened, but he just got everybody together and kind of was just like, okay, like we're okay, we're gonna be all right here, and we're gonna turn this around, and we're gonna go out there and win. And it wasn't like screaming and yelling, but he got in and he talked to everybody, calmed everybody down, and he told everyone things happen. Let's go out there and win. It's a new game, and they went out and won.
Big Poppy was known for that, in
Oh yeah,
Boston.
he's had a couple, good ones. In 2013, he had a good one for sure, and the mic got him on one of those.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, those moments are great, and those are why contracts for, jumping over to hockey really quick. That's why locker room contracts are there. Glue guys get contracts because they can keep the boys together. And in sport hockey, you get a 35-year-old guy gets a three-year deal because he can keep the boys together. And that's like the biggest sport that you see in. But you see it in baseball too. Usually it's the guys with the big contracts, though. It's the Hayward, it's the Ortiz. It's usually the biggest guy in the room. It's a Kershaw. It's usually not that, not Johnny Gomes type guy.
yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't going to mention him, but I think Victorino had a great influence on that 2013 team, and even Napoli was always known as a great clubhouse guy.
Napoli guy.
Yeah. Another thing too, I don't know. Have you guys ever seen the Jim Valvano speech? He was the college basketball player who gave that really inspirational speech at the ESPYS, and he was terminally ill and ended up passing away like days or weeks later. But then they renamed it the Jimmy Valvano Award for Perseverance, and like Stuart Scott won it in 2014, but the reason I'm bringing him up is because he was talking about his first ever coaching gig was with the Rutgers college basketball team, and he said he watched or read something from Vince Lombardi, and he said Lombardi started the speech. It was actually the start of training camp, I think. He was meeting with the team, and he goes, men, he goes, only, and this is Lombardi, he goes, only three things matter from here forward. He goes, number one, your family, number two, your religion, and number three, the Green Bay Packers. And Valvano thought, oh, that's great. I'm stealing that. He goes, I'm totally stealing that. And he goes, he's gonna say, the only three things that matter is your family, your religion, and Rutgers basketball. And he said he was really nervous because it was his first gig, it was his first game, and he said he tried to bust through the door, like kick it open, and it wouldn't open. So he jammed his knee on the door, and he said it was really painful. But then he goes in there and he starts it off, and he goes, and this is the Rutgers team, and he goes, men, he goes, only three things from here matter. He goes, number one, your family, number two, your religion, and then he flubs it on the third one and says, the Green Bay Packers. And they're like, they're a basketball team. Why do the Packers matter? Because he was supposed to say Rutgers basketball. So he totally didn't even rip the speech off correctly.
Yeah, he blew that one. Some would say he blew it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just laughed, and the ESPYs were last night, and Jim Kelly won that award, and he's gone through like some really bad cancer battles, I guess, and it's affected his speech and everything, and a lot of people were kind of moved by by the speech he gave last night. But yeah, anyway, I didn't know we were going to get off on something like that. But going back to the World Series last year, I mean, it was just obviously it was analytics versus AJ Hinch just trying to figure it out. What was best for his team. And Alex Cora, let's not forget, was the bench coach and kind of had a little influence there. They jokingly, debated whether they should pull Morton out to pinch hit for him, but Cora said, "No way, we're keeping him in." And, of course, they did, and the rest is history. But
yep,
that's another team that needs a reliever, don't they?
Yep. I mean, considering that they just, straight up DFA'd their current closer.
Yeah, Giles, right?
Yeah, they just dumped him. I mean, they moved Rondon there anyway, but yeah, they could use another bullpen arm, and they're a team that needed more of a Brad Hand than the Red Sox do or the Yankees. Obviously, the Yankees don't, but you know what I mean. The contenders, even Seattle, they don't need another big arm like Cleveland did. Houston's one of them that does. That's what Houston's missing, is a big arm, just like Cleveland's missing. Now that Cleveland gets it, I put them back in the same territory as a Houston or the Yankees, where they are. Don't look at their record now. Look at their record from July 20th until October 1st, because that's the real Cleveland Indians at this point.
And in my opinion, if you don't want to say he's the greatest manager of this era, at least the greatest postseason manager of this era, Terry Francona. And I know he's won one less World Series than Bruce Bochy, but I mean, come on, like down 0-3 against the Yankees. I mean, that was epic. And then I still say what he did in 2016 was he outmanaged the shit out of Joe Madden that whole World Series, and his staff just got tired. The 3-man thing kind of wore out, and Miller, was, basically gassed. And
he ran out of games.
Yeah,
he did not. He could have won that World Series if it won 6, but as soon as it won 7, he lost it because his ballsy plays finally caught up to him.
Yeah, but that's getting back to your point where they're suddenly a very dangerous team again, and they might get Adam Jones, by the way, which would be nice for their outfield because I mean they have Brantley who's having a good year, but
Brantley's healthy. He's great actually when he's healthy.
Finally, yeah, and Chisenhall just went on the DL. I don't know what's going on with Naquin. He might be healthy, but he's not a game changer anyway. But you plug an Adam Jones out there, that's pretty good. They got a very good infield anyway, and
they have a great. I mean, Yan Gomes hits for power. Kipnis is. I'm not a big Kipnis guy, but
right.
Still there. Ramirez a stud. Lindor a stud. Brantley's been a stud this year, and
Encarnacion,
and Encarnacion is your DH. So, I mean, they got 5 very good hitters there to
right.
go along with Kluber, Bauer, Clevenger, Carrasco, Salazar whenever he gets back. So pretty good. And now with Cody Allen, Brad Hand,
Kluber and Bauer are, I mean, neck and neck with the best 2 Astros starters, I feel like. I mean, there's not a huge difference there. So I just
do you guys like their club better or the Red Sox?
Which club?
The Indians.
I like the Red Sox lineup, and I still like their bullpen better. I think their starting pitching's better than ours, though.
It depends if Cleveland gets Andrew Miller back, because we don't have an Andrew Miller or a Brad Hand.
No, we don't. But I also think that's how Thornburg's going to figure it out and be a Brad Hand type, Cody Allen type in the playoffs for us. I
hope so.
I hope so too. But he's looked great, and they're managing him so well. And it takes a little bit to get warmed up. And I just feel like by the time he gets warmed up, comfortable, confident again, it's going to be October. And there's your 7th or 8th inning guy, along with Kimbrel, who's been the second best closer in the American League this year. So even the whole league, you could say, behind, even in front of Hand and what's his face, Wade Davis out there, he's been phenomenal this year, Kimbrel. So even if they got Miller back, I still think I like our bullpen and our lineup. But their rotation is definitely better than ours. I don't know if Miller's going to come back 100% either.
Here's
That's
the
a fair
thing.
point. Yeah.
This is what I just can't, like, I have a hard time getting past this. Is just the fact that they've been there and they've done that. At least as far as getting to Game 7 of the World Series. And
Yeah, Yankees, and so is Houston. Everyone but us.
exactly. And that's the thing. Match us up with any of them. And I'm just like, none of our starters have a win, for crying out loud, as a starter. And I'm pulling up the schedule right now. I know we closed with the Yankees, but let's see. Baltimore's in that last week. All right, so perfect. Here we go. The last 3 series of the entire season. Actually, is there any October? Do we go into October maybe one day? I'm just trying to figure out if that's a 3 or 4 game set. Nope. So we end on September 30th. So we have the Indians and the Yankees in the last 3 series. Okay, it goes Cleveland, Baltimore, Yankees. Now, how many games is that? 3, 3, and 3. All right, so that's a 9-game set. If we win 6 or 7 out of those 9 games, and look especially good against Cleveland and New York, then my confidence goes up a little. Then I'm like, all right, and you got to believe that it could come down to the last game, right? I mean, for the division, conceivably.
100%. That I think it's going to come down to. I mean, even if going into that series right now, we're only 4.5 up. You know, we're not 8 games up right now.
Right. And with having Johnson and Velasquez back there, we don't know what we're getting out of those guys, and we're used to getting only 4 or 5 innings out of them before Cora goes to the bullpen, and usually he's bringing in Johnson to back up Velasquez or Velasquez to back up Johnson. So those options aren't going to be there where they're pitching. They're probably not going to be back to back, but they're going to be pitching within a few games of each other. So there's no true long reliever in our bullpen right now. And
no, that's not, because they're going to be in a rotation, like you said. So
yeah, and Porcello up and down. We don't really know what we're getting. He's battling, but he's at his career average right now. He's like a 4.24 career guy, and he's currently at like 4.13. So he is who he is at the moment. So if he can go on a run like he did earlier in the season, surely that helps you win games. David Price is fine as long as you're not playing the Yankees. And he got shelled. The hand game there where he left, what was it, right at the end of the first inning, that was a home game. So
yeah, it was. He's
been shelled in both stadiums against the Yankees. So I don't know how this next start's going to look. So he can lose his mind is what I'm getting at. And Sale, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of the different approach that he had, but he's typically not a second half guy either. So this 4.5 game lead that you were just kind of saying isn't necessarily safe. It really isn't. And the Yankees are going to make the biggest splash. I mean, they can screw with us in the worst way. Like if we go to Texas and say, all right, let's work it out with Hamels, and we're trying to build a package around Swihart, and the Yankees dangle out Clint Frazier, we've lost. They can outbid us. They can steal our move from us, basically, if they want to. I'm not saying they're gonna, but so they can make the bigger splash than we can. So I'm not that comfortable, but if we're in it and we're neck and neck against the Yankees, and actually, you know what? I just noticed this right now. The Yankees we play right before the Indians, so if you want to take the last 4 series, we play the Yankees twice in there, then Cleveland, then Baltimore, then the Yankees again. So that's a murderous month right there. And we have the Astros in there.
I'm a little confident with Porcello going back to the rotation right now, like into the playoffs. I don't know. I still am confident with Porcello, to be honest with you. And I'll definitely give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's going to pitch great this postseason. But Porcello's ERA right now is really high. But, back against, 5.24 at Tampa, his ERA was at 3.74. Now 7.13 Toronto. After that game was a 4.13. In between that stretch, it was as low as 3.44.
Right.
So tell you? That tells you that when he's losing games, he's losing them like bad.
He gets killed, right?
He gets killed, but when he's winning, he's fine, and it shows